Hey guys, this is James. I was thinking about what I could show you or tell you, and I thought it would be interesting, for me anyway, if I try to explain why Macbeth is my favorite Shakespearean play. And I'm going to do this in segments because it's rather a long speech. So this first segment is just the history of why Shakespeare wrote the play, in my opinion. Um, England, here we go. England split with the Catholic Church. Henry VIII, I believe, wanted to get married. He wanted to get divorced and then remarried to Anne Boleyn. I believe it was Anne Boleyn. Somebody check that for me. Anyway, the Pope wouldn't let him do it. So he split off from the Catholic Church, and England went from being Catholic to being the Church of England. And that, of course, pissed off the Pope radically. The English, I think they're Protestant, the Protestant Church of England and the Catholic Church in Rome just hated each other. So during Shakespeare's lifetime in 1681, again, right around there, while Shakespeare was in London, writing plays and stuff, there was going to be the king was going to address the Parliament, and all of the royal family was going to be there. It was done. I think this is done every year, but that year the Catholics decided to blow it all up, and they planted a huge amount of gunpowder underneath the Parliament building, so that when the king came and addressed Parliament, they could just take out everybody in one blow. This is called the Guy Fawkes Rebellion, or the Gunpowder Plot. If you saw the Wachowski movie Anonymous, it references that. It's not called Anonymous. What's it called? Anyway, if you see, Anonymous uses the Guy Fawkes mask. And in England, they have Guy Fawkes Day, where everyone wears this mask to remember the gunpowder plot. At any rate, the story goes that the king figured it out and saved everybody. I suspect that somebody else probably figured it out and gave the king the credit. But at any rate, the plot was foiled. So there were still Catholics in England, and it was very unpopular, and I think even technically illegal to be a Catholic in England during this time. But after that plot, it was off the hooks dangerous to be a Catholic in England. They were ripping people out of their homes, drawing and quartering them in the streets after this plot was foiled. Also, they did a mass with their gunpowder underneath Parliament the night before the Catholics did, to bless the action. From the English perspective, from the Church of England, they said, you're trying to kill the king. That is a demonic act. Therefore, you are in league with the devil. Therefore, that was a black mass. So you're all devil worshippers. So anyway, Shakespeare, I think, was a Catholic. We don't know a lot about Shakespeare. A lot of what we know comes from the sonnets, which were a group of poems that he wrote, which functions kind of like an autobiography. And from that, we know that he was bisexual. But a lot of people also think that he very well may have been a Catholic as well, and it makes sense to me. So, assuming that he was a bisexual Catholic. It was, by the way, not that popular to be bisexual in England. It was less comfortable than it is today, for sure. So Shakespeare is walking to work, and people are being dragged out of their homes and drawn and quartered, and for being Catholic, when he's a Catholic and he is bisexual. And he writes a play where the lead character, Macbeth, does everything that the gunpowder plot people did, only worse. Not only does he try to kill the king, he succeeds. And he does it while the king is staying in his home, while the king is asleep and trusting him. He murders him with his own hands. So he ups the ante on how bad it is. He goes in league, Macbeth goes in league with the devil, not just on a technicality of whether that was a black mass or not, like happened in his country, but he prays to the devil. He calls to the devil, which in the play is Hetket or Hetkati, and he pledges his fealty to this demonic presence. And yet, he is still a human being. And he is motivated by ambition, which I think all of us have. So he has a character do the worst of the worst and then forces the audience to admit that they're like him. So I think Macbeth is a very, very mature rumination on human evil and how it happens psychologically. That's the end of chapter 1 of my explanation. We'll get into the play itself later. I wonder how many of you got to the end of this 6-minute video. This is one of my passions. Anyway, have fun chewing on that, guys.